black belt. I'm an exercise physiologist as well. And obviously, as Sarah said, I'm a DV advocate through lived experience. Through all my lived experience, I saw, I guess, lots of areas that we as a community need to really work on and really build. And so the one thing that I'll be talking about today is boundaries, and I think everyone. Okay. And I think boundaries is a big one. I think it gets thrown around a lot, but for a lot of us, especially women, boundaries are something that we don't uphold very well. And so what kind of, I guess I'll ask you guys, what kind of boundaries are there? There's lots apparently. Physical. So physical is like consent and things like that, but there's also physical in terms of there's a table between me and someone else. So there's an actual physical boundary that keeps us safe. What other ones? Pop quiz, everyone. Mental, yeah, there's definitely a mental. Emotional. What else? They're probably the main ones, but there's so many. I even had a look. I went just before today. Went and had a look and go, how many different boundaries are there? And there's tons now. There's like, you can pretty much go digital, physical, emotional, mental, intellectual, sexual. There's like so many. But basically, boundaries is just personal. Any personal boundaries that you want to uphold, all of them, anything that you feel like someone else has to respect, your space, your safety, and safety is a big one. And this is why we uphold boundaries, because safety is a massive one when it comes to that. So I won't talk too long because I know we're on limited time as well. But when it comes to boundaries, it comes down to how you want other people to respect you. Underline. I did write some notes, so I might just check to make sure I cover them quickly. But it does come down to how do you want someone else to respect you? And really, there's some boundaries we're really good at, and there's some boundaries we're not. So when it comes to business, we might be really good and go, I'm not going to respond to someone after 7 o'clock. And that's a boundary. That's a boundary of your time and your energy. And it's also an expectation. What expectations are you putting out there for other people to respect? And that comes down to values. What are your values? So if you don't really have a clear idea of what your values are, and you don't value yourself, then how do you expect other people to value you and respect what your boundaries and what you're putting out there? And I can tell you, I guess, a story that happened probably about, I don't even look at it, but probably about a month ago. I enforced a boundary, and you might go, yeah, you're a full-time black belt, you're fine, you can protect yourself, and it's not about that. I think everyone thinks, oh yeah, you do martial arts and all of that, and for me, it's like, yeah, I can protect myself if I really need to. And martial arts isn't about going out there and fighting and causing trouble and things like that. So when it came to, I guess, domestic violence, everyone's like, well, but you can protect yourself, you're confident, and you can do all these things, and it wasn't about that. Even still, a month ago, I held up a physical boundary, and what I got back from that was just a little bit of shock. Once he got over the shock, he called me a skank. So, that's how respectful, our keeping on boundaries are and expectations. And some people will not respect your boundaries. But then, what do you do from there? What's then your expectation? What are you tolerating in your life? And it comes to business, it comes to personal, it comes to friends, it doesn't matter what it is, but you have to, keyword, communicate. If you don't communicate what your expectations are of how you want someone to treat you, then how do you expect to be treated the way you want and valued the way you want? And a lot of times as women, we're told to be quiet, go back in the kitchen, go do, look after the kids, all those kinds of things. And then that value in ourselves, we don't put that out there. We don't go, well, I want my time. Who are we if we're not a mum, if we're not a business owner, if we're not a friend, if we're not a wife? The question is, who are we? If we take all those roles away, who are we? What are we? Also, yes. But what are we if we're not those roles? How do we want to put ourselves out there for people to value us and value our time and go, well, I'm not a mum, I'm not a, I'm not a wife or a partner, or, I'm not this, I'm not these roles at this moment, but a lot of us don't know who we are and what our values are. And if we don't know what they are and who we are, how do we expect other people to go, oh yeah, I'm not going to call at this time, and have those expectations. And if you don't know who you are, then you don't know what you want in your life either. So, really quick, because I know everyone wants to get to the good stuff. You're going to write, do we even have markers?
I have all of them.
Yes.
I remember.
On your boards, I want you to write down, because last year we did fears. Yeah, you have to do it. Last year we did fears. This year we're doing boundaries. And I want you to write one boundary that you are going to, from today, make sure you go out there and you communicate what that boundary is, whether it's physical or business-wise or whatever it is. I want you to write it down and I want you to uphold it. And whenever anyone steps past that boundary, you're going to be no. And it's not always about no. It's like, no, I value my time. I'm going to spend time with my kids. Sorry, I have to go. Whatever it is, okay? I want you to write on that board that's in front of you now with your marker.
Yeah, you don't want
So, same thing that was really exciting. When you come up to break the board, don't curl your fingers, okay? Keep your hands flat. You're going to go palm, but you're going to go with this palm, right here. Not your whole hand, so it's not going to be flat. It's not going to be flat, okay? You're going to go push through, and you're going to count right inside.
Yeah, you're all right.
Push from inside, and you're going to push through, and you're going to keep going. You're not going to stop here, because we're going to stop at last, Ellie. We break through them like that, okay? So, each person's going to come up, you're going to break the board, I'm going to ask you the question, you're going to answer me with conviction and with power, and it's going to come from right here down here, and then you're going to break your board. So, who wants to go first? Ready?
I've got my hand. That's it. I just made it an option. It wasn't.
Sometimes we need to break some stuff. This is a safe place, so we won't get taken to jail. But things like this are really, really important. And taking the time to figure out what your values are, and taking the time to then go, these things aren't acceptable. And if someone can't respect your boundaries, they probably don't belong in your life. And that could be family, friends, even clients, customers. So the right people will come to you, and the ones that aren't doing you any good for your mental health, physical health, family time, anything like that, you don't want them. They can go somewhere else. Because the people who respect your expectations and your boundaries, they will come to you and they will find you. Okay? So this year we did boundaries, and I think it's super, super important because, a lot of us got caught when it came to COVID in work boundaries and personal time because we're at home. And a lot of us probably still work at home, and there is no distinct cutoff. So making sure that you set what your boundaries are and you stick to them. And that's probably the hardest thing, is sticking to them and communicating that and being brave enough to tell people, I'm not going to tolerate this. And that's super, super important. And hopefully you'll go away now and you'll feel seen and you'll feel heard and you'll feel valued and know that you are important. You're important as anybody else out there. Okay, you're just as important. Each of us are equally important here. So make sure you don't forget that. Okay, every one of you have written your boundaries on the board, and that's just one. Knowing what your values are and sticking to them and living by them, that's the hardest, especially when it comes to the hard times. And that shows, during the hard times is when your true character comes out. And so please don't forget that. When you look at that board now and you've broken through a board, and for those who haven't done any board breaking at all, you should be super proud of yourself. And for those who have come up here and put down those deepest fears and those deepest, things that people have disrespected you for a long time, and come up here and shown that and broken through that, I hope you still go out there and live by that and uphold that. And I know it's hard, and especially when you don't feel safe, it's even harder. But hopefully you can find the people to build you up and support you so that they will also respect and uphold your boundaries. Okay? So please remember all the boards that you've broken today. Who was here last year? So this year, I got thicker boards. So, yeah, that's the song messages. Because I thought last year, those boards were way too easy. I thought we'd up the game. So you should be even prouder if you came last year and broken a thick board. But because they are thicker boards, those who have come this year, you should be super proud. Especially when there is that fear of like, I don't know if you can break a board, right? The fact that you've broken it should be one highlight, because there's probably many highlights today. One highlight that you should be super proud of for yourself.